Okay, so let's talk about trig functions very quickly, and I want to talk about units because we assume in math that if I give you the function y equals sine of x, that x is in radians. Radians is generally the standard, so unless I actually say x measured in degrees, we can sort of make that assumption. And we know that the derivative of y with respect to x is equal to cosine. So what if I said y equals sine of x, where x is in degrees? Well, it's not necessarily true that this derivative automatically transfers over. So let's see what happens. So I've got y equals sine of x degrees, and I know that this is true for radians. So let's rewrite y. And let's just rewrite it in degrees. Well, the conversion factor x degrees equals pi x over 180 radians. So it's fair to say that this is therefore pi over 180x radians. And now I'm going to take the derivative of y with respect to x, but notice that we have a chain rule problem here. So we're going to take the derivative of sine, which is cosine of pi over 180x, times the derivative of the inner function, and that's just pi over 180. But then this is x in degrees. This thing right here is x degrees. So we can now rewrite this as pi over 180 cosine of x degrees. So important to notice that in fact they are not the same. If we take the derivative of x in degrees, we can just take the of a trig function of x in degrees. We can just take the same derivative, but we've got to put that compensating function out front because degrees and radians aren't the same. So it's basically just a conversion factor. So what we can go back and say is that all trig derivatives assume radians. So all those trig derivatives that we did in a previous video are assuming that you're measuring in radians. And if you want to measure in degrees, you can. You just need to stick a pi over 180 out in front of the derivative. And so you don't actually even have to do it every time. If you just remember that conversion factor, you just stick it out front and boom, you're good to go. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with a 4.1 recap.